I am Moll Anderson, and we've got a great show for you today. That's Moll Anderson, by the way. First, I'm going to invite on author of Not Tonight, Dear, I Feel Fat. And you'll remember him from hosting the HBO series The Sex Inspectors, relationship guru Michael Alvear. And get this, he recently surveyed health researchers from around the country working on body image issues. He found that over 50% of women have put off sex even when they're in the mood because they feel too fat. Let's bring him on now so we can cut the fat out of our love lives. Hi, Michael.
Hey, Mo, how are you?
I am great. I am so fascinated with this book and all the studies you've done.
Yes. Well, I haven't done the studies. I have researched them.
Oh, okay.
And it is quite an eye-opening experience.
I can only imagine.
Well, one of the things that was absolutely shocking was the idea, and this is 20 years of research talking, that being thinner doesn't make women happier about their body.
Oh.
The dissatisfaction with women's bodies is so pronounced now that psychologists actually call it a normative discontent. So in other words, it's the new normal to hate your body.
That's so sad.
And this is, that is a terrible thing that happened. And I sort of knew that going in, and that's why I wanted to do this book, because as somebody who's been researching and reporting about sex for the last 10 years, I realized that there wasn't a single book or magazine that actually addresses this problem of bedroom body shame in the bedroom. I mean, lots of people talk about women's body image, but there was nothing to talk about what happens when that becomes a problem in the bedroom and you start avoiding sex, postponing it, or, for instance, putting conditions on it.
Like making sure the lights are out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or only putting yourself in positions that your partner can't see your perceived flaws, or only having sex if you have a shirt on. Right. So what happens is you start putting conditions on sex, and then you start having duty sex, and your partner knows you're faking it, and all of a sudden the bedroom turns into a place where you put your body on trial.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh. Well, I can see how this happens, and it makes so much sense that this is occurring. But I'm so glad that you actually took the time to research this and to write a book about it, because clearly this is a serious problem. And it's heartbreaking because, let's face it, sex only becomes a problem in a marriage when you're not having it,
Right.
Yes,
and it becomes a source of conflict because the guy is going to feel rejected, abandoned, and feeling like his opinions don't count. Because one of the things that happens is that women who are sexually self-conscious about their body, they don't believe their partners when their partners say, I think you have a beautiful body. And there's a reason for it, and this is what the research shows. Most women cannot see themselves as they really are.
Wow. So
what happens is that women consistently overestimate the size and shape of their body. So they are convinced that they look, in some cases, they overestimate by about 25%. So that's why women think their partners are lying.
Well, and I think women don't understand, like you said, men are very sensitive in this area. So if you are basically turning him down and making excuses or acting like you're not wanting him, even if you're doing duty sex, I mean, that's just it. Women don't understand that that's messing with the man's mind. And they wonder why a man might stray at some point if the marriage is falling apart because somebody's paying attention to him, because men need attention as well.
Right, exactly. And there is no other arena where a man gets to experience his masculinity more than in the bedroom.
Right.
And when that gets taken away, and for a very bad reason,
yeah,
that can be really problematic.
Well, this is good that you're making this, aware now, because I think that once women finally get that into their brain, they'll start thinking, wow, this is a partner thing here, and maybe I need to sit down with him and talk to him about my body image. I mean, do you suggest that at all?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, my book is about how to stop worrying about your body and have great sex. My book only really touches a little bit about body image, only to understand it, and to understand that There are things that you can do about your body image, but the best thing that you can do is to change the way that you're having sex, because women who have appearance anxiety have sex in a way that perpetuates that anxiety.
Okay.
There are specific sexual techniques that eliminate or reduce body shame.
Really?
So that you can, oh, absolutely.
Well, can you share some of those without getting too crazily graphic?
Without burning up the wires?
Without burning up the wires, we are XM. No, but I mean, are there, as my brain is taking this all in, I'm thinking, okay, well, there is lingerie now that covers certain areas or things that can make us feel sexier. I mean, because it is mental. I mean, women get something in their brain and, it's hard to get it out. And so if there are ways around it that they could ease into it, so that they can feel better.
So I think there's 3 things that you can do.
Okay.
The first thing is to understand that the best way to improve your body image is to value yourself for something other than your appearance. So, for instance, competence, we know, is a great body image builder. So women athletes tend to have a much higher body image, not because they look better, but because they're skilled at something.
Right.
Okay? So how do you transfer this to the bedroom? Okay? Let me tell you what the research shows.
Okay.
Sexual competence creates body confidence. Women who rate themselves as good in bed have a much higher body image than women who don't, even though their weight and shape is the same.
So the skills win out.
You got to be able to light up your man like an all-night liquor store.
Well, I think they need to do that anyway. So I think that's an important lesson right there.
Yeah, but let me tell you something about when I talk about specific sexual techniques.
Okay.
The way that women have sex, so the way that women with bedroom body shame have sex, invites more inspection, if you will, of the thing that they don't want to be seen.
Really?
So, because here's what happens. Okay. Are the lights dark enough? Is the shirt covering up my body enough?
Right.
Am I laying still enough so that my thighs don't jiggle? See, what happens is you start presenting your body in bed in a way that's passive and submissive and invites more of the very thing that you're trying not to do. So the answer to this presentation is participation. What you have to do in bed is to be a vehicle for pleasure rather than an object to be looked at. You have to move so you can stop being a sight to see and start being a force to be felt.
Take control.
And there's a whole range of sexual activities that help you do that.
Okay, now, do you give us those in the book?
Word for word.
Okay. Well, see, we're just going to have to make sure everybody goes and buys that book so that they can learn, because we're not going to tell you here today. We're going to tell you got to go buy the book so you can get your word by word. And are they illustrated or just word for word?
No, it's really kind of an instructional step-by-step guide.
Okay.
And one of the things, like, for instance, the whole idea is to create an erotic energy loop. And energy requires movement.
Right.
Fake left, go right, run up the middle. Talking creates energy. So what you're trying to do is get out of your thoughts and into your pleasure. Because the idea, what's happening is that women are so distracted by their self-judgment that they literally cannot pay attention. They can't engage with their partner. They can't attend to their pleasure. They can't stay present.
Mm-hmm. Well, I tell you, I know I feel better when I'm exercising. I mean, exercise to me helps me feel healthy. I feel better about my body. And the more healthy I get, not skinnier, it's the healthier I feel, the more sexual I feel.
Right. It's interesting you say that, Moll, because the research shows that women who exercise to lose weight hate exercise, and it never works for them.
I hate exercise, but I do it to feel healthy.
but I thought it was interesting the way you phrased that, though, because what the research shows is that women who exercise because it makes them feel good, and it makes them feel healthy.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, and by the way, I like the way I look better.
Yes.
I mean, that is always part of the equation, but is it the leading part, or is it just the consequence of the exercise? So that's really important. But, there's some groundbreaking research on the importance of sex in terms of creating a higher libido and creating the environment for desire to flourish. So, for instance, I call it, I personally call it the 2070 exercise.
2070, okay.
Yeah, and it's not nearly as mysterious as it sounds.
Okay.
It's basically getting on, say, a bicycle. It has to be aerobic exercise, and you go for 20 minutes at 70% of your heart rate.
Okay.
This exercise was studied for the last 5 to 8 years in multiple studies and showed that when women do that and then have sex within a few hours of that their desire blooms, because what's happening is that it works on the parasympathetic nervous system and creates an environment of blood flow, muscle tension, relaxation, that the only thing that you need when you do an exercise like that for 20 minutes is an erotic cue, and you are off to the races.
Really?
So an erotic cue is defined as anything that turns you on. It could be your man walking by with his favorite cologne. It could be you reading erotic books. Whatever it is that turns you on.
Got it. Well, I love that. I think I'm going to start exercising later in the day. I think that could be super helpful.
And you know what will be really helpful, too, is
what?
if you exercise with your partner.
Well, we do that. And you know what? I suggest that here, too, because I'm all about communication. Whether you're taking a walk together or you work out in the workout room together, it is sexy, You see your man sweating and working hard. And my husband's so cute because he knows I feel better when I exercise. So he'll go, "Oh, honey, you look so sexy when you're exercising." And I'm thinking, oh, I know he doesn't really mean that, but it's so cute. He's saying it anyway.
But, there's actually a biological reason why you should exercise with your partner. Just recently, in the last couple of years, the University of Berkeley, California, Berkeley, discovered that there is a hormone in male sweat that is the closest thing that we have come to a male pheromone.
Oh.
And what happens is that women's hormones get activated when they're in the presence, when they sniff that hormone in male sweat. Now, that doesn't mean that your partner has license to smell
Right.
like a biohazard.
No, that's not sexy.
But it's actually something that sex experts are starting to recommend.
Well, isn't this kind of like musk?
Yes. Yeah.
It's the same thing, the animal musk. I mean, because I know that's a scent that I love. I love musk.
Yeah. It's a derivative of male sweat. It's part of the testosterone family.
Oh my gosh.
So that's something, and that's what I mean by my book, Not Tonight, Dear, I Feel Fat, is about looking at the latest sex research and putting it through the prism of a woman who has experienced so much appearance anxiety that it is debilitating her sex life.
Well, I tell you, the book is called Not Tonight, Dear, I Feel Fat. And Michael Alvear, I think this was brilliant. Thank you so much for writing a book that's going to help a lot of women out there, especially my listeners. I really appreciate it. Will you come back sometime?
Absolutely.
I can't wait to know what you're going to follow up with.
Illustrations.
Oh, there you go. All right. Well, thanks, Michael.
Okay. Take care.